We are live now. Thank you everybody for joining us once again. You're rocking with TheCzarr Rights Reserved. I'm gonna let these guys let you know where to follow them, the socialites of the new age. Whenever you guys are ready. Hello?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, social medias.
My Twitter is mandyeatsurheart with Zabella. And my Instagram is not private. And it is mandyeatsurheart. And it's UR.
Okay. Everybody else.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chris A. My Instagram is Chris_A. That's the letter A, Y, and the number 3.
Yeah. Queen.
Yes.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. So it is, follow me on YouTube and on Twitter. Or just follow me on YouTube, whichever way, at Queen Prodigy. And also, you can hit me up on Instagram at Queen Prodigy 0369.
Okay. We're going to go through quickly, and this is called Open Investigation with the Nation. One of the first ever live stream series you're going to see in a repetitive motion, but with different contexts. Now, let me start off from the beginning, and this is me working through my catalog to discuss it with everybody. Now, there was a situation where you guys know that I started off in one of my first videos. I started speaking about how this was similar to Tupac. Does anybody have any thoughts on that ideology?
I think it's very similar in a way, even though he doesn't like comparing himself to him. It's very similar. They actually have the same tattoos and everything if you focus on them and the storyline. They were both activists in the community and trying to change the children and the way people think and view things and trying to heal people in the most positive way ever, even though he was falsely accused for beating some loser ass girl. But, you know, in the end, everything sorts itself out. Like his death, we found out who killed Tupac because they couldn't hold it in anymore. They were snitching now. And eventually they're going to snitch about X because nobody can stay quiet about murder. Somebody's either going to want to show off that they killed him, or they're going to feel guilty and God's going to eat them alive, inside out. That's my honest opinion.
What's your thoughts on this, Chris?
Similar to the Tupac situation, similar, two different eras, obviously, you know. But you know what? I guess you can compare them because a lot of people called him the Tupac of this generation. So it's very similar. Difference is, you know, when that happened back in 96, you know, there wasn't no social media, none of that at that time. We just heard it from the news, and that's just what it was. Had that happened now, probably we'd be here sitting in the same platform, discussing it, trying to figure it out, and you know, so yeah, they're similar. They're definitely similar.
Now, also dealing with this series, I then moved into asking questions, and some of my questions were targeted at people such as Arriva Motorsports. What is your thoughts of Arriva Motorsports? Have you heard anything about their business?
Never. until Jose went there.
Me either.
Queen, what are your thoughts on Tupac and the Riva Motorsports angle?
Well, for one, the way that I feel, I always I grew up in love with Tupac just as a person, as he is as a rapper, as an artist. I've been a very big hip hop fan, and I thought that he was someone who was different than what we were usually seeing because it was a big wave for the East Coast, basically, and he, was born in New York, but he moved to Baltimore and then eventually moved out west once he signed his deal with Suge. But I just feel like the relations are the fact, as I was stated before, that they are activists. But at the same time, too, even if you're looking at the vehicle that Tupac was murdered in, it was a BMW, same situation with John Bay. And funny enough, even though Bob Marley didn't die through gunshots, he was attempted to be assassinated at one point in time for his political beliefs or just spreading love and being a positive influence on the rest of the world. He also drove a BMW as well. And so I would assume that usually I kind of have this weird theory to where I feel like a lot of people still say, the Jews run the entertainment industry or the Zionists run the entertainment industry. And so, I kind of get this feeling when it comes down to driving a BMW that it would be somewhat symbolically offensive given the fact that it's a German vehicle. But beyond that point, they were Black men that were attempting to make a global change and wanting to do something for the better. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has their moments of retaliation or sticking up for themselves, and it's portrayed as thugging or being violent or just being out of control. But I personally feel like they were warriors. Like they were legit warriors of different generations, and there's no comparison between either men. Every man stands as their own person, and that's what should be respected in this entire situation. Is that Tupac is Tupac, and basically, Ja is Ja, and Bob is Bob. That they're all monumental men that have impacted the world, and to show people that you can use your music to change the world, but to also get people to actually realize that this is much deeper than what they are looking at. This is more of a government situation than people actually realize.
Now, are we talking about Tupac with that part?
Oh, I'm speaking about all the gentlemen.
Okay. I'm
speaking about all.
Okay. Now, did anyone witness, and I just want to ask this quickly, the freestyle he did? If I'm noting back to a video seen by the battle rapper Daylight, is anyone aware of having seen the video he did at the Friday freestyle?
What are you talking about here? Are you talking about Jate?
Yes. His Freestyle Friday, the freestyle he did.
I don't think I recall that.
I think I did. I think I've seen it. He was wearing like a plaid shirt or something. Or,
yes.
Yeah. I think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the stuff he was saying was very heavily aimed at examining government entities. It was very situational and very inquisitive. Do you think that a freestyle and an opinion during a freestyle could have developed some type of tension politically?
Yeah, I believe it can.
So a lot of these artists, even though they're in entertainment, it seems like politics follows them.
What as far as if I can respond on that, I feel as if when it comes down to the agenda of politics, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Me personally, I haven't voted since Barack Obama, and I actually was actively a part of getting people to register to vote, fundraising, even doing data work and putting in data information or who's registered, more than likely stated they were going to vote for. So I was very close to that situation. I also had the opportunity to participate in the Democratic National, the Democratic, to even see a black man be on stage and run for the presidency.
Now you're back.
Yeah, just to have a black man on stage and run for the presidency. But I haven't voted simply because of the fact that I knew that things were not going to be the same after a black man got into the presidency. And I just realized that when it comes down to, I don't want to get too deeply into politics, but you ever notice that everything always ends up in a gridlock until the Republicans get their way? That's just kind of how I feel. And it just kind of discouraged me to really believe that there is true democracy in this country. It seems more like a fascist situation. And the reason why a lot of rappers realize that this game is given the fact that it's no different than actual witness gang activity. So if you're thinking about gang activity, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about different gang activity, you notice that basically same thing with regular with different governments, etc. They create conflict in order to make money. They create conflict to make money. It doesn't matter who wins, who loses. All that matters is who's caught in the crossfire in between everything else that's happening, and making sure that they can gain resources after the effects of their. I feel like it's the same thing that is happening in the political view and also in people who own very major corporations are probably influencing gang activity and probably police activity in order to create conflict with regular citizens to create revenue, and that can be from drugs to war to organs. So, I just kind of feel as if these rappers are very much enlightened and very aware of what's systematically happening to their people and to people in general, let's be real. And they're kind of set up with it. They always has an influence on the way that people are actually viewing this system. I think not.
You're going in and out, Queen.
Okay, hold on one second.
Yeah, but my mission dealing with Tentacion started June 18th, whether the same day he was gone. So the title of this video, June 18th, was XxXTentacion attacked after Instagram Live, an epidemic of issues on mainstream rappers by fanatics. Do you think an epidemic of dealing with mainstream rappers has continued? Zabella, Chris?
Can you ask that again?
Do you think, I said on June 18th, I did my first Tentacion video the same day he was deceased. And the title was An Epidemic of Issues on Mainstream Rappers by Fanatics. So do you think that fanatics are still effective in mainstream rappers' lives?
Yeah. They're people too. People keep forgetting that. They have families just like us. They're normal people. They just got up there because they're talented and they kept pushing themselves. You know, everybody has their different talent. Donald Trump has a talent in being a piece of crap. He made it. Why can't anyone else make it?
June 20th, I asked, did Tentacion successfully pull off a Tupac technique? Odd photos and dwindling stardom in effect. Now, the reason I mentioned that was because of certain things I seen circulating with people saying it's fake, people saying it's real. And I was wondering if this is like the Tupac thing. And then I said there was odd photos and dwindling stardom. Do you believe that there's still odd photos and his stardom is still up and down as we speak?
I think it's rising even more now, honestly. Like he was getting somewhere, and I saw it. You know, like he fixed himself completely, and because Geneva, she kept trying to mess up his name, and she still is. And I feel bad for her because she's not getting anywhere in life doing that. You know, he's still somebody even after being deceased.
Now, was my first breakout video on June 23rd. I said, Tentacion assaulted while leaving motorcycle shop. Uncle escaped, but how was X's suspect free? In general, I was wondering, how did the uncle run out the car? But then at this time, there were no suspects in custody. Why would you think this would be possible, Chris?
That was June 23rd, right?
June 23rd, I asked that.
At the time, I believe that didn't they have one of the suspects already in custody?
Not at this time. They were saying Dedrick D. Williams was going to be in custody, but at this time, June 23rd, they did not have anyone in custody, at least revealed to public.
Right, they didn't. When I was at that time, been following everything on the incident, you know, there were just so many assumptions of who did it, and everybody was just, I guess, you know, they're fishing around to figure out who did it and why all these people were apparently, I guess, saying they did it for clout, and all these videos were surfacing. I mean, I don't think that I think at that time, when that's when they right before that's when they actually got Dedrick, and that whole issue came up where, you know, the tire he was wearing. I think that's right around there where they started issuing talking about the orange sandals, and I just remember like just going through a lot of stuff and just doing some research and seeing it and trying to remember back at that time. But I think that, you know, I think not even a couple of days after, that's when they actually caught the other suspect. So
right, July 4th, the crime scene breakdown. Queen, was Dedrick D. Williams the perfect fall guy for this?
Apparently, at this point in time, given the fact that I feel like he knew that on one level or another that he would have. I just kind of get this feeling like this man is pretty confident in knowing that maybe this might not stick to him, as long as he's able to put everybody else behind bars and walk free. So at the time, it seemed like he was the perfect fall guy, or even including Robert Allen, which I believe was with him at the time too. Seems to be the perfect situation. But at the same time too, you know, these characters were very close to the situation. I'm assuming that everybody in Florida know everybody, you know, or they kind of have like a similar situation because they're trying to all make it into rap game, into the music industry.
Now, July 6th, I doubled back and I said investigators of the TheyCzarr are they setting the trap? And I said, will he get hit with mastermind charges? Zabella, what's your thought of the fact that charges, when I say mastermind in nature, is fully being able to link someone, and if others weren't able to be linked? Do you think that a situation of that type still exists?
Yeah, there's too many people involved. They needed 4 people just to rob him and shoot him. They needed 2 people just to shoot him. They needed someone to run out of his car. He was getting followed from the bank. It's too much. It's too many people involved. There's at least like 2, 3 masterminds behind this.
No,
and there has to be somebody close to him, because who the hell else know where the hell he was?
I agree, but still, like you said, at the party there were conversations, so it could have been less. Now, here's the thing. Remember, there was a receipt last night we all looked over together with a text messages from Panama with someone else, and it seemed like someone was contacting and letting them know X was in the store. Who do you presume that could have been?
An ex-girlfriend, a very jealous, obsessive ex-girlfriend who never got over him.
So if she's saying X is in the store, could it be?
Wasn't there.
But if she wasn't there, how'd she know he was in the store? And who was she telling, wait a minute, so she could contact?
It had to be someone dating her or around the situation, because all these people around it have grown up with us.
And I could tell, if the alleged stripper information I received, I could tell she would look terrible in a stripper outfit. I mean,
most of these girls would.
I mean, that's my opinion. I'm sorry. I can't. If she was allegedly stripping, you had to look terrible in your outfit. I mean, you probably look like a bag of bones taking your clothes off. That was crazy. I was like, who would go with her? But to each their own. July 11th, the investigators at TheyCzarr, I said they were putting on a warm-up. The game of who done it begins for the suspects, because they were showing photos, rushing around, preparing, saying they're going to go look for this in person. What are your thoughts about this, Zabella and Chris, Queen? What are y'all thoughts about this? Like, what's a game of who done it? How far does that go?
I mean, it's almost 8 months. Tomorrow is going to be 8 months. And I don't think they have enough time left to keep playing their game.
Men right now before them. Dead figures are the ones that are out here.
Honestly, if they want to keep playing this, I will take them to court too, because I grew up with these guys and I know them personally. So for them doing this to him, I can say, oh, these guys have been to our old manager's house.
Now, I said that, Queen. I said that July 11th, that they're just warming up. They're about to play a game of who done it. July 13th is when they begin the manhunt. So I called them hitting that way, and they're in the midst of a manhunt come around July 13th. What is your thoughts, Queen? Why was it so on point that that's the next thing they immediately did?
It's a crime. They need to have suspects. And at the same time, too, the real question is checking out phone records and seeing if there's a connection between what happened with whatever information Panama sent to whoever this person is, and if someone else got the information to relay it to someone else. Because everyone keeps talking about this Cherry character, and wondering if he knew something about this young woman being killed, and at the same time too, Why are people not looking at the fact that there is a mass amount of gun violence happening in the state of Florida? Because the same day, another woman was shot roughly around in the same location as well. So is this a situation to where maybe we need to look at strip clubs a little bit closer? Like, who are these females? Who hangs around these strip clubs? You know,
now
who
I gotta be honest with y'all. When I did my solving part, so July 14th, I was like, July 14th, there was two things I did that day. I said the manhunt continues, is amplifying rules of engagement, due process. And honestly, I was talking to mastermind entities. But then the next video I did was, is this solved? Because around this time is when I started to realize that a man was coming out flashing money as that claiming to be a cousin, but they weren't around the situation. But then after I figured that out, I said, wait, let me get back. And I backtracked July 16th. And I said the royalties were relinquished and the niece was deceased. And at this time, suspect for profiles that they said were arrested could not be found in the system. We could not, all the people I had looking could not find it. Why would that be? Anyone, if you have any idea of how that was possible.
I have no idea how that's possible. If you caught suspects, everything should have been there, I'm assuming, in the database.
Right. I had three different people looking, two that live in Florida and still watch, and one that lived close to me. So that was my thing. I had three different people interacting, looking, but none of them looking through the registry could come up with it. And that was the thing. Now, another thing is by July 16th, I saw that the cousin had drowned. And I had trouble finding any registry dealing with that. That's a whole nother situation, though, to conversate about, because, I never got that received. I never had any receipts to show that. And I did see the alleged mother of that niece show up and say something, but it's still, my Jamaican connect still didn't come up with the blatant information. And I ride with my connects that are solid over a lot else. The Jamaicans couldn't come up with it. And I'm like, well, you guys came up with everything else. They're like, bro, I don't know. You got to figure something out. So that confused me. So then it comes to July 17th. And I'm saying, did the investigators grab the wrong guy? Michael Boatwright, innocence and Constitution. Now, at this time, Michael Boatwright was brought in on other charges. And when he's going in on these other charges in the system, they bring him in like, hey, we caught you with this, but we think you're tied to the murder. Next thing I know, they're charging him with it. Did he get railroaded in an investigation room? I mean, Queen, what are your thoughts on that? Could he have gotten railroaded?
The way that I feel, I'm going to say it like this. I recall reading an article when he was initially arrested, and there was a cousin who happened to be related to Michael, and she stated that he had nothing to do with Jassay's murder. And she stated that he was framed, and I believe the article was on, just to make sure that I'm dropping sources, because I know how people feel, about people saying stuff. So it came from the Shade Room, and I believe this is when they were first, announcing that he was arrested and connected to the murder. So I'm not too sure, necessarily what to believe, but I don't think that somebody's cousin would just come out there and have paragraphs and comment over and over again to say someone set him up.
Now, here's the thing. July 18th comes, and I do a video speaking about Cleo, her right of will signature, and the rules of signing documents and how I was unaware. Since then, I do know how she was able to do it. That was back then. I was asking, how is that possible? To her benefit and favor. After we spoke, I realized how. But then that same day, the assault video from Riva Motorsports, I'm there talking about it, and I have audible hatred in the background, and these individuals are still around. Now, when they come around in groups. I don't know if they presume I'm going to do something to them. That's not what I'm trying to do. I only defend myself, but I don't really get whether they're doing it on purpose. But I had a group coming around speaking a different language. This is when it started. And you could feel when you don't have to know what's being said that there's like no reason. I know what they're talking about. I don't have to know what it means exactly, even though I can piece it together. So I say that to say July 19th, Riva Motorsports, after I spoke about the video of the assault, they claimed that they were family. I saw no ambulance or authorities right away, but we saw a fake story. Who called 911? Has that been answered yet?
No, honestly. They started recording him instead of calling 911.
I was July 19th. I was asking these 2018. I still have not had an answer to this.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think anyone called until somebody on Snapchat saw this and saw the location, because the whole time they were checking his pulse, they kept recording him instead of calling the ambulance.
Wait.
Right down the street.
So we're saying when Victor allegedly ran in the store and said someone had been shot, when I also allegedly heard a Riva Motorsports person went outside to try and help him, why weren't any of them calling 911?
That's weird.
It's very weird. This was July. I was asking this. I'm doing this because there's a lot of people that make comments No, we're crushing that today. I was asking this July 19th, and there's some big reason, why you keep talking about it. Why can't you answer me? Who called 911, and why is there no ambulance visible at the crime scene? And I hear he got taken off in a fire truck? Really?
Not even. The hospital is down the street from Riva.
I know. That's exactly. How was there no quick reaction? I see you guys reacting to everything. I have video for days. Was this a situation where they said, just another black rapper? Is that what they possibly said?
No, it was a group situation. It was a group murder.
Okay.
It was a group murder. Because anybody else, I'm telling you right now, anybody else would have helped him. He grew up in that area. Anyone else would have helped him. I'm telling you, if I knew where he was, I would have even called the hospital. I would have even called the hospital.
YouTube guidelines. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Let's go here now. I said the same day I did 2 more videos, and within this one day, I reached over 10,000 views, probably 11,000 views off of this day alone working with the information. So then I'm between July 19th, I'm here. After I asked who called 911, I talked about a ghost passenger and a track star. And then I said the gate enclosure, because the way it read, someone cut him off from the front and behind, but the gate enclosure, why he didn't back up or go forward, I was asking about that. And then I immediately took it into the professional video editing. What's going on with the security cameras? So
I feel like he got forced to just stay there. Because knowing him, honestly, he would have gone around them and kept driving until something like police or something noticed that he was being followed.
But here's the thing: in Theo Calito Zay, you're a commenter that disappeared. But I'm gonna give you credit. You said a very particular thing, and you brought up the Manchurian candidate type mentality, which I respect. Could he have been, let's say, disoriented or something at that time? He wasn't able to react quick enough. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
And then the ghost passenger. Now, all right, everybody, I holla at you, Zabella. She got to run and do something.
I love you guys. I'll
All
be
right.
back in a bit.
Okay. Yeah, just hop right back on. Basically, what's going on is I'm asking, so Queen, tell me, this guy, he got ghosts. He was out. I just couldn't fathom that. And then the video was allegedly edited from what I was hearing. This was July 19th and into July 20th. Queen, what's your thoughts on what would make a person hop out, and what, from what you know, because you were around where it got real. Queen? Was that her?
I think she tied up for many years.
Oh, okay. What is your thoughts, Chris, on this situation? Like, is it normal for, if someone's running down, attack a person that's not like, that's, I don't know how you put it, that is running from a situation when you're after the person with them?
I mean, we're talking about that incident. You mean when they supposedly pulled up on him?
Right.
Stopped the car?
Right. And the guy hopped out and was able to run, but he was like stuck there.
I mean, I think because everything could have happened so quick. If you have a passenger and they open the door and they start booking it, you're gonna look to your right, you know. Then you're gonna look to your left. These dudes are coming with these guns, you know, and you're like, shit, I can't get out the way. If I get out the way, they're gonna, you know,
Facts.
they're gonna shoot me. But the other possibility is he was given something drowsy. I mean, everything just looks, everything in that scenario just doesn't look. Everything in that scenario, if you really was to look at it outside the box, don't look at the common things, right? The basic things that you would see. It looks, you know, all premeditated. It looks movie-ish.
Right.
It looks like, you know, it looks different. A lot of people seen the picture of him after these guys pulled up, and the videos they seen were grainy. Pictures they seen weren't clear enough. And there's surely there's pictures out there that haven't cleared. And when you see these clearer pictures, you know, he doesn't look the same as what you seen when it was grainy. Like that stuff, like the dry lip stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't look the same. It looks like, you know, like you got a little bit of chapped lips on the clear picture, you know. So,
yeah. Right.
You know, now you're like, wait a minute, is he sleeping?
Right.
You know, and I see these things and I'm like, well, you know what? We can't jump into assumptions. Let's see what the investigators say. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they grab. And yeah, but to answer that question, yeah, I think yes, definitely he could have been confused at the moment. Everything happened so fast with these guys coming out and the passenger running out.
Now, okay, so then I did a very synonymous video, the 20th. I was talking about attack from the side view, the legendary fifth man, and the four-face indictment. And a lot of people kind of asked, but that's at that time when I started speaking, there has to be a mastermind. And I was like, there's 4 guys being indicted. There has to be someone else. I was like, there's no way they could coordinate to make the call. Which in the same day, I said the missing links and the identity of a mastermind being ignored. That's how they're moving with the case. Do you believe the case is still moving that way, or are the suspects getting expertise involved, helping to bring this mentality to light?
It's from me or Queen?
If I could, I'm just gonna answer or say something really quick. The way that I feel about the situation is that when it comes down to whether if this is a setup or not, and, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's just a standard robbery." I want you all to actually take a look at a couple of videos to where it's been stated, and even to where Ja has stated himself that there were people that were watching him. There were people that were literally stalking him, and he felt like there were people out to get him. Now, does that sound premeditated to you? And then this young man ends up dead 6 months later?
I fully agree, and all I have to say is I already took my hidden shots towards that, not only in the title of the video, and those people know because I don't do it hidden. I actually said something directly to them before I did any video I ever implicated someone. I said something to them right before it dropped every time. It wasn't like I was hiding it. And it was to the point I know they saw it because I seen they interacted with it. They just didn't say nothing, which is smart. Again, because I tell you, when someone responds, depending the response, I know exactly where their mentality's at when I said something directly to them. And I just got to think about what Chris just said when he talked about the lips. It was the way the lips were chapped. That really, it was eerie. And I honestly didn't realize it at first, but it matched a lot of what people were saying. And that's why I kind of said, where's Theo Calito's? Again, I don't know who you were. I don't know if you were really from the UK, but you were one of the people I spoke about when I said people I used to interact with, because he was making such points at that time that a lot of people weren't saying when I did those videos. And I'm like, why is this guy co-signing the fact that it may not be what we thought it was? That's what had me a little shaken. And I was like trying to say, like, Theo, who, you know what I mean? What's going on? He was there, but he wasn't responding. I don't really know who he was. I wonder what superstar you were, because I get those feelings. I was like, who are you? And that's when I realized that, hey, this ain't who I think it is. But then, even and off to say that I did July 20th, I did another video that ended the day where I said the prosecution of X and the grand jury plan, they're painting the narrative of felons out of a few. And what I was trying to say was the fact that these suspects, some of them have bad past. And we're supposed to look at them because your past sucks. This is who you are now. You have to be guilty. Do you believe, Queen, that was being painted on the suspects?
I wouldn't be surprised for some of the suspects. I'm not going to act like they're all innocent or make it seem like they all don't have an ulterior motive behind their actions. But at the same time, too, this has to be a methodical plan. This has to be a situation to where people are actually calculatively, thinking about how to either execute a robbery, and then it just turns left, and it turns into a situation to where now a young man is deceased. Now, keep in mind, I believe it was Robert Allen. I'm not too sure, but one of the suspects actually had Flocka on them.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what the effects of Flocka is. I don't know if somehow like X really wasn't into taking, you know, drugs or doing anything crazy like that. I have no idea if, you know, somehow it got into his system, but it does not look like a standard robbery simply because of the fact that if you're robbing somebody, let's be for real, you surround the vehicle.
Right.
You surround the vehicle, period. That's what you do. You surround the vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
you take everything from everybody from what they got because you're hungry and there's no rational thinking.
Right.
It's not just some standard hit.
Now, before we move forward, I want to say this point at what you said. It takes me back to what Victor said in his statement. He said that there was a tussle over the bag. So how would X fall perfectly back into his car with his legs straight, leaned back, if he was shot over a tussle? Is that possible?
I just give you my opinion on that. He, you know, Victor contradicts himself a lot. If he's seen that there was a tussle with the bag, how is it that the surveillance that was shown to the public and that those minimal clips that they showed clearly shows somebody running through the passenger side to grab the bag? What we see is the brief struggle allegedly with them trying to grab his chain. We don't see a bag ever.
No.
How could Victor see a bag when he ran back inside?
I thank you. I thought I was crazy. No, the public thought I was crazy. I'm saying to myself the whole time, I don't even see a fight over a bag. I don't see one in this video. Okay, great point. Now, moving forward, July 21st, I'm talking about how the killers were being indicted. There is, I said, the gift and the curse of reasonable doubt. Because at this time, Michael Boatwright was trying to claim insanity and he was building it up to that point. That was just alleged at that time. And then I said the subliminals with the security cameras and the dire pending charges on these men and the clout and speculation surrounding it. Tell me this, both of you. Please, I'm trying to test my sanity. Why would someone brag about having done this to X publicly on social media? Why would they brag about it if they weren't there? Like, what do they get out of bragging? Because they really didn't do it? I'm going to lie and joke around and say I did?
I'd say for clout.
It's like,
they were there.
It's like, how hungry do you have to be to lie about a murder? It's a different generation. I mean, maybe it's happened before, but it was viral. People were doing this, wearing face masks. Some of them in a video laughing about it. Some of them tweeting out, "Oh, I did it," and then they're like, "I would never do that ever in my life." And it's like, what happened to people standing there square? Like, yeah, I went and did it. Like, why would they joke around? It's just sad the day and age we live in, with people trying to blow up off of the internet, off of someone else's demise. Why can't you do it off your own talents?
Just a quick question, or just a quick suggestion pertaining to that. Has it ever come across to anyone that maybe these characters are possibly paid to leave a statement on what happened?
Wait, hold up. All right, by whom? By whom are we talking about here?
For real. I mean, let's look at it this way. How did that TMZ was already, you know what I'm saying, knew about what was going on before everybody else did?
Good question. That's a good question. And ain't it funny how TMZ seems to show up whenever something bad's happening every time? Like they know.
Statements, running into Reba, but knowing everything in detail, even to what he shouted out, it's like, come on, man, what are you doing?
And I agree with the commenter and left, Tina. They are on it too quick every time. It's too quick. You can only be so many places at once. You're literally getting calls before 911's dialed, and you're there. Oh, we knew this was going to happen. Guess what? Now, July 23rd, that's when I described about the news anchor first on the scene and how investigators permitted it, because they had to be there for questioning unless they did that video and ran. Wouldn't that be them leaving the scene of a crime? Wouldn't that make you suspect if you were there, then you dipped, then you released the story on social media? How do you avoid that? Now, also July 23rd, I want to say that I feel I made history speaking about witness named Victor. No one ever spoke about him doing this. This is right after he put the story up. I was like, the witness named Victor, lots of lying, and he's reaching millions of fanatics. That was the danger. Now, my own source at this time did not know who he was. Didn't know who he was. At least that's what they claimed. So why did no one else call him out on his contradictions?
They didn't. They should have.
Well,
there was a YouTuber or two that had the question, you know, the whole crisis acting.
Well, I mean on Twitter. How come the fans were eating it up? What would make them
be honest? Let's be honest with that situation. These fans are highly distraught. They're going to immediately want answers, simply because of the fact that they're dealing with their own personal day-to-day issues, their own personal problems. And it turns out that someone that they adore has been gunned down. And so why wouldn't that create a natural emotional frenzy to go ahead and interview someone, take their statement, and try to give people some sort of clarity that naturally is not adding up to what we have seen, what we've seen in the footage.
I would understand that. Then this gets us, so from Victor, it brings us into July 24th. And I said it was a forensic-less crime scene, meaning I saw no forensic team there immediately. Then a random picture popped up after I addressed this. Then I said, Victor's many mistakes breaking the case wide open. Because he did it that way, everything came into question then. Because it's like, I'm hearing your story as you claim to be the last one who interacts, but you're running with it like it's truth. Then I'm saying, and here's where my ideology was at here. Now, this is what I want to ask. I then the same day doubled back and said Riva Motorsports, the crime scene, and where the last stand of XxTentacion was noted. Do you believe this case is changing the law with social media? By that, I mean people like Victor can post a crime and dead body photos on social media for news and never have to face the consequence.
If I could speak on that personally, and just from what I've realized to dealing with, as I stated before, harassment and cyberbullying online, there's situations where even going into police stations and reporting that, they're not going to do anything about it, simply because since the internet is a, how can I say it, it's a very monitored situation on a global scale. That means that federal levels will have to be involved in order to examine that situation and to, create a situation to where it could be foul play. So this is someone that did not have, the opportunity to be held accountable in court for what they stated. But at the same time, too, it's a very disrespectful situation given the fact that someone passed away and you're speaking on it like you were standing right next to the suspects.
What's your thoughts, Chris?
The same. He's acted on as if he was he saw it through everybody's eyes. He ran with it, and you could tell that there was just something off. Like you could tell he felt the need to keep telling a story instead of actually telling what actually happened. The story that was being told is clearly at the moment. If you catch on, which a lot of people probably did. Like, wait a minute, how did you get all this? How did you get all this information in that small amount of time? Weren't you one of the ones where you were asked not to take a picture? You took the last picture, you posted it. You were asked not to, but you did it. You wanted the clout. You wanted the attention, and you got it. And then when the backlash came, when people caught on to it, you ran and hit, and you hit.
Now, I really want both of your opinions on these next two. Let's say this is when it got serious. So July 26th and July 27th, amongst those 2 days, Robert Allen and Trayvon Newsom were apprehended. Robert Allen was apprehended in Atlanta. Trayvon Newsom was caught in New York. Robert Allen went to Atlanta and was caught at a relative's house. Why would Trayvon Newsom run to New York?
I would assume to probably buy a little more time to either get someone behind him or to do something in order to get either the right attorney or the right support that he would need just in case if he does get locked up. But because I never even knew that he was actually in New York, so that's another state that would be involved regarding the fact that this would create. Keep in mind too, I think that it is a criminal offense to actually lie and give not anonymous tips, but just give tips that would state, oh yeah, these people, whoever these individuals were, had red masks on. So my thing is this: it makes me wonder, as far as people who were getting paid or who were trying to throw off the story, would either be involved in the media because this person immediately went to the media, number one, or it could be the fact that this person probably got a back end to throw off who these other suspects were.
What if I tell you, with that note, that last part you said, what if I tell you that I recently found that I think someone at that point in time was living in New York that they thought they could go to for help? Think about it. Robert Allen was found at a relative's house. Michael Boatwright was already in custody. Dedrick D. Williams got caught first. So being that Robert Allen went to a relative's house, we can presume that Trayvon Newsom was either headed to a relative's house or he had someone there he thought would be able to assist him. Now, I have my thoughts on exactly who it is, but that's why I'm not saying at the moment. I have my thoughts. But if that is to be a valid connection, it could possibly dictate a mastermind. Now, here's why I say that. I say that to say this, that not only was he the last one picked up, but he's the only one that came in with bail immediately. And when I say bail, I mean a lawyer. He was lawyered up walking through the doors. No other suspect had that. That's what made me suspicious from the jump. So that's when I started making calls to New York, linking up with some guys, and I found out there was someone in New York. And I'm thinking to myself, is that where he was headed? Or how'd he come in with a lawyer? And I don't think it was someone X knew like he was going to New York for, but it makes a lot of sense with other events I saw following after too. But do you think, Queen, he was possibly heading that way to lay low with someone who we can presume could be an alleged mastermind?
The way that I feel at this point would be either to lawyer up, to either inform someone that the job was done, or to see if he can get away and head into
You all right? You said it. You said it. All right. Let's keep moving. And now I'm looking at July 27th and 28th once again. Tentacion baby mama drama, subjugation to felonious activity under persecution by law. And I said the missing link between X and Geneva, pregnant with baby X, is a DNA test required. So at this time, we heard a girl was pregnant. I didn't know whether it was Geneva. I didn't know whether it was Cynthia. I didn't know any of that. But I did know he had baby mama drama and that he was facing a felony dealing with Geneva. But at this time, I knew nothing of Genesis. I just heard there was a probable pregnancy. A lot of girls started coming out saying they were currently pregnant. Matter of fact, it was more girls than we actually found it to be true. So it was like two major generational clout chases. One of saying they did this to him, and the next is saying, I got his baby. Is that not the mentality that could be desired to have us dumb down? Oh, I did that to him. Oh, I got his baby. Like, was this an entire clout race? What do you guys think?
I think it was a clout race. And I think it was to keep everybody on their toes also. Keep the whole situation, keep everybody, on their toes with everything that's going on, everything around it. And to throw people off at the same time.
Yep.
Definitely to throw people off course.
Yep.
People who can't stay the tracks, they get off of it, and then then it blows up, and people just keep following that train where it's just like, wait a minute, do you guys not realize that we got sidetracked here?
No.
I don't. The initial thought is, oh, I'll be loved. I'll get attention. People will adore me because they'll think that I'm pregnant with X's child, right? But then everybody's going to try to play it off for a good 9 months or whatever situation may be. But they're not thinking about the people that know who it is. They're not thinking about, the individuals that are aware of who this person is and protecting that person's identity and being able to truly call someone out and be like, this is not okay. So it's a matter of the fact that a lot of females get, or even people in general, even pertaining to evidence or even to a child, let's just say that a woman is pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's pregnant and she's saying, I'm pregnant with Josh's child. Okay. That baby got to drop one day. And then what exactly is going to happen to you, endangering your child's well-being if that's not his child?
Okay. Between July 28th to July 29th, I talked about if X was set up by Bree, the essence of influence and lover's revenge without discretion. Now, I was getting information that there was some jealousy or hatred by a woman of the past. Now, I also said there was a lack of tangible evidence for 4 suspects because of circumstantial and direct evidence missing. And the fact they got witnesses, it could be direct evidence, but how much of it is hearsay versus what actually happened? Then I also doubled back and said the BMW X, which he was riding in, the BMW X features, it has a camera inside. Why haven't we been introduced to the camera inside? I mean, that's still not answered.
These are all things that raise a lot of eyebrows and questions to what what's going on and what's really happened. Why is this information being withheld? Now we understand there's a trial and there's things that are sensitive in the case.
That's it.
You showed us that whack little clip of what happened, and you know what? That there's more deeper. It's like they're dancing around the heavy stuff,
Right.
Deeper things. It's just dancing around and just dipping their toes in the water first, and everybody dip your toe in the water. Get the right temperature. That's it. Just feel it out. We're not gonna give it to them. We're just gonna let them have a little bit. Let them hear a little bit. Let them see a little bit. That's it. On everything.
Oh no, but Chris, that would endanger the case, wouldn't it? Showing me footage from inside a car? That's gonna endanger the case?
That's gonna endanger whoever's behind it and what plot is.
Exactly.
That's what it'll endanger. Whatever really truly is going on.
The same day, okay, I double back. The love triangle of X, commenter's objective perspective of a girlfriend who done it. At that time, I was making a direct reference to all these women. Well, who done it? Because this seemed very personal and it had such a strong woman's touch to it because of how sloppy it was. Because even if the mastermind's a guy, he carried himself like a woman through this whole thing of doing it. Because I don't understand why he didn't just do it himself. It didn't make sense. It's unusual. It's the same thing as wanting your freedom, but like you really want this person to go. Like that didn't make sense. And then I also mentioned the usual customers of Riva Motorsports sticking to the code. X's consumer relations. Now, usual customers. Diedrich D. Williams was deemed by Riva a usual customer. So why X's reaction from seeing him walk into the store? Why was he reacting so funny?
But that's the whole puzzling part, because it only wasn't Diedrich, his former tattoo man, right?
Right.
Also Robert Adden, right?
Right.
He also allegedly knew him from way back. They knew each other, and what it looks like, and at the same moment in that clip that we see, it looks like if you look closely to everybody's body language, it's almost like everybody was uncomfortable at the same time or knew something was supposed to happen or going to happen.
Right.
From the salesman to the passenger to X to the two guys that just walked by each other. You don't have to be like you don't have to be that cool to still say what up.
Right.
What up?
Right. Queen, what's your take?
As far as my take on it, I just feel as if, for one, as I stated before, it's like you don't usually, if someone is just randomly out and they're trying to look at some different things, and you know that you have a lot of money on you, you know that you've seen these characters before, and then on top of that too, you're very intuitive, and you feel like death is knocking on your door, it will kind of make a little bit more sense to know that where his feelings and his discomfort is coming from.
Right. It's
I agree. Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
It's kind of crazy. It's like at that point, I'm like, what's going on? So July 30th. And again, remember, we still don't know who called 911 nor have a copy of the call. How does that endanger the case? It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. So then July 30th, I said abandonment issues, lack of attention, and a plight reinforcing his problems. This is when we discuss the past objectively. He went through with Cleo. Now, since then, again, I spoke with her. She gave her point to me, very simple and plain, and there's two sides to every story. So I really don't have nothing to expand upon that because I'm not going to say, oh, I don't believe, because she lived it. I can't tell her what she lived to be true, her truth or false. But here's where I do speak. I spoke about a surrogate mother, reality for conflicting victims and past woes to future pains. I was referring to, and Cleo made it clear, it's not a stepmother. It was just an acquaintance of a woman that was affiliated as a family friend in her total interactions because she was mentioned to me, but I didn't realize that there were other, let's say, similar aged boys linked to this family connection that are around the situation. So I was beginning to understand more about that. Now, then I said, did a system of broken promises and mastering manipulation, it transmuted? So all this bad stuff was, even though we look at his life and we say that's so horrible, we can all agree that's what made his music great. It was the struggle. Everything he went through made his music more powerful. People that could relate to it, understand it. That's something I get very well. Public defender drops out of X case. Do you guys remember when one of the defenders and people that were well known dropped away from supporting a suspect? Why was it?
I'm sorry. Do me a favor and ask the question again.
Why did there was a lawyer that was protecting and defending one of the suspects that dropped out from protecting him? Why would a lawyer leave in the midst of dealing with a suspect? Was it just because he was a fan?
It could be because, I mean, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of a lawyer's perspective, they're going to want to see things from a win situation. And if they don't feel like they're going to win, what do most lawyers do? They back away from the situation. Or it could be a possibility that maybe certain people were threatened and they didn't feel comfortable being involved in the case. Probably far more case than a lot of people are aware.
Now, I agree. Consuela just said a conflict of interest. If we're to presume it's a conflict of interest, I would like to know where the conflict came from. Now, I want to.
If I'm the suspect, I wouldn't want a public attorney.
Okay, I could see that. Now, as X, as the pregnancy news that was floating around him, do you think that him thinking of that began to help him grow and see himself stronger through tragedy?
I'm sorry, I'll say that again.
As he grew, understanding that he could be a potential father, even though he had disappointments, do you think that helped him to grow as a man?
I would naturally think so. And also given the fact that he would definitely want to have, I guess you can say, a level of I mean, let's be for real. Like he even did like a quick interview with Adam 22, stating his, excitement, stating how he was excited about these different changes that were happening in his life. So I would think that he would get to a space to where he would begin to, mature over time, realizing that the things that he did, he no longer wanted to do anymore. But at the same time, too, this industry wants to kind of typecast you into a specific lifestyle because that's who you were. That's what's making money.
Now, I too was growing. So the reason I'm doing this is because I was growing throughout this investigation. I did a message to Cleo and commenters talking about the growth of a legacy and comparing even a channel we do to his music career on how people need to grow. Then I said, immediately after August 3rd, the domestic charges were dropped against him. And I said, this is implications to a bigger plan in play. Why would a woman that made accusations double back like, nah, that didn't happen? Why would she make the complaint in the first place?
The complaint to get for her. I honestly I feel for her to make this complaint, there was also somebody else involved. Definitely for the money to extort him and blackmail. Put herself out there, use his name.
Why? Just quickly, why would a woman be so lame to blame another man if someone else fine-tuned her? Why would they say, oh, it was him and it was this guy?
Being forced to.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now,
I mean, I would assume this. I would assume that there's a lot of everyone would be aware that there's a lot of complications when it comes down to love, when it comes down to what's real, what's not. But also at the same time too, there's probably a lot of I guess you can say possible extortion from the situation.
Okay.
Given the fact that he was blowing up in the midst of all of these, basically other females, other women that actually jumped her or, got a little with her when all of that was going on. And I would assume that, as I said it before, a lot of jealousy, a lot of chaotic energy, dealing with the fact that he was madly in love with this girl, but she continued to cheat on him, and the back and forth. It happens in relationships.
Now, I also did a story about no casings presented, the unreal demise. So do you guys know of casings being at the crime scene?
No, I have never seen it. I haven't seen anything.
Does any commenters, I'm in the comment section, does anyone know of casings being at the crime scene? Because they didn't have revolvers in their hand. We know that. No one knows of any of that. Neither do I. If someone has pictures or if you have them with revolvers, okay, I'll beg to differ. But still, we don't know. Now, this is August 5th. We still don't know who made the 911 call. Now, I also spoke about the relations of the extended family. I spoke about a foundation and how his name was signed to it, but other people around, it was eerie beginnings and different things. And again, I have documentation showing those type of things. I asked about the suspect's past relations to X, how they fit in. I'm thinking I'm understanding that part because of who I seen them around. Then around August 7th is when my true clarity began to seep in about the bigger picture. And that's when I started looking at the past girlfriends and different things. Then I looked at the mastermind, the uncle that ran the interrogation and investigator situations, and how I started to allege one of the investigators had to be involved, had to, for this to start happening the way it was. Then I looked at Victor telling fibs, and he had the rogue news anchor with him, who I figured her name out. And since then, her thing's been like shut down. Can't find anything about that. Then we know, as we know, August 7th, Trayvon Newsom was finally announced that he was prepared for interrogation. He was caught and everything was happening when I first found out that he also, August 8th, by August 8th, was lawyered up as he entered the proceedings, and that he walks in with counsel and he's avoiding getting railroaded with questions without having legal counsel, which is the smart thing. Then by August 8th, still, I'm talking about his mildly stained hoodie while he's in the car. And where's the last reports? The autopsy, the toxicology, the certificate of death that show this stuff? What do you think the true reasoning of none of this information being accessible, not even sent to a parent, a parental figure, and not seeing blood on the hoodie? Do you guys?
You wanna go, Queen, or?
Yeah. Do you know of him actually having blood on the hoodie?
From what I was told, and I haven't reviewed the surveillance footage again, or even the recorded footage that was close to the vehicle, because it's a sad situation. But someone also did state that there might have been an exit wound in the head. It didn't look like there was any serious situations regarding any type of blood around the neck or the face area, because I would presume that if you're shooting someone, that there would still be some sort of splatter on that person, especially.
Same here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not crazy, because I didn't
see anything either.
Okay, now August 9th, Michael Boatwright defines the trial, and this is when he says, "Oh, I'm insane. Trayvon Newsom and the mysterious mastermind." Now, this is what I'm talking about. I'm saying he walked in with a lawyer. So whoever we presume to be a mastermind either wanted to make sure this person allegedly wouldn't speak or had to have some interaction. Look, let me say this, and this is another video, but whatever. I'm going to talk about it now. Do you notice how everyone else is asking for experts, looking for a way out, claiming something's not right, except Newsom? He's the only one playing the trial normal. That isn't odd to no one?
Definitely odd. Definitely. I mean, you can also throw in there when Robert Ireland said that he wanted to say the truth when allegedly when he was taken in. So to have that happen, very odd.
I'm confused. Queen, what do you think? What do you think about that?
And you stated that it was Newsom who...
He's not doing anything. He's just running with his lawyer, Robert Allen, requesting a forensic expert. Dedrick D. Williams, audio and video experts. They're requesting expertise. He's chilling with his lawyer. Does he think he's gonna walk? Is he in a position to walk?
No, I don't believe so.
I mean, I would presume that that given his reason to run in the first place would already consequently point out his guilt in the first place.
Right.
But at the same time, too, he is trying to do his best to probably get the best lawyer in town, and not necessarily in the state of Florida, to make sure that he doesn't have something that's as, I guess you could say, as detrimental to him.
Well, here's what's crazy. He stepped in, lawyered up, which means he had some money that he was able to do and spend on that. But what's eerie?
Not only that, but watch see everybody else get caught before that too.
Right. But the craziest part yet is that these suspects. Have any of you two ever heard of a suspect asking for a grant to get a lawyer? I mean, not get a lawyer, but get experts.
No.
I've never heard of this. Get other experts on the case besides their lawyer is what I mean. And it get granted. 5-digit figures from a judge get granted.
Yeah.
What are they seeing that they're like, wait, what is possible? That's my only thing I'm at. What is that judge seeing that he's like, get those experts? Here's 15,000. For the video and audio expert, he gave Dietrich like 20,000, 25,000. Yeah, go get him.
Proof. That's the only thing I can assume. Not enough proof.
Something's not right. I can say that something's not right. Now, here,
It could be given a situation that, as the public is fed something, maybe it could be that these videos could have been edited. It took a very long time for these videos to come out. And who's to say what actually happened at Reba Motorsports? They didn't necessarily see timestamps of when X went upstairs to when he came back downstairs to when he was standing and rubbing his eye to when he said, you know what, I got to get out of here because these two guys are here. We don't see those timestamps.
Right. Missing timestamps. That's very true. Now, August 9th, I said there's mixed signals in Miami Herald reference. Were forensics and reports verified? Were any of these reports verified is what I'm asking. And the Miami Herald was coming out claiming all their statements. There's this, there's that to prove that. But they're not showing us. They're like going off of their name to influence the public of certain things happening. And I didn't see nothing. August 10th, Michael Bolt writes grandma's vehicle. Investigators say they finally check it. You go on a manhunt and you don't check the homes? How does that work? Do any of you understand that?
Yeah. They definitely dropped the ball there.
It's like, isn't that common sense? How would you just know to run to New York or run to Atlanta to chase someone down? There had to be someone of contact that was letting them know the moves. That's the only way. How else would that happen? I just don't understand that. Then I said, what happened to Tentacion's cousin? Information received, details, no stats to match. I'm doubling back like, look, yep, my guys got back and there's no data telling me a niece was deceased in Jamaica. Matter of fact, I looked in the month of the people that were deceased. There were two males around the age of that niece that died. No niece. Didn't see it. That's just fact. Didn't see it. If they not just an obituary, if you can show me a profile of someone being deceased, I will buy it. My people from there could not find it. Why? And they have access to this stuff. How? That just boggles my mind.
But it was up on social media. There was a picture up.
Yes, but there was no like aftermath, no ceremony, no nothing else. I saw nothing else to dictate it. I seen that photo, but then I'm like, wait, where's the data that shows me Jamaican authorities went out to a call about a little girl drowning? A little girl.
Yeah, it's definitely mind-boggling.
I'm like,
Definitely.
it's no different than the Anthony Myree situation in New York. It's no different. No body, no nothing. What's going on? So August 11th, Mastermind plays off lack of intelligence. Investigators and suspects turned into puppets. That was my belief, that these guys just started looking like puppets because they were running on a wild goose chase with no type of process due. Byproduct of a criminal lifestyle, suspect karma and predisposed judgment through affiliation. I'm saying, is there some type of affiliation that's allowing things to move a certain direction? Am I not getting it? So I'm literally respectfully coming back and objectively questioning all of these things I'm realizing in a respectful way. Tentacion. Now, August 11th, also, that's when the certificate was released with a medical attendee absent from it and without a cause of death. So that fake one online popped up around August 11th. And then I spoke on the fact that if Robert Allen and Trayvon Newsom lawyered up, Dedrick D. Williams has a fighting chance because these two aren't willing to talk. But Dedrick D. Williams, if he did talk, he can then try and twist the story to stand his ground in some way. So however his lawyer wanted to fight it, if he would get a lawyer. Now at this time, he didn't have a lawyer. But at that time, he was still pending. And if I believe, a few weeks after that, he did get a lawyer.
Because I know the two skinny gentlemen were the shooters. So was Robert Allen the getaway driver?
It's here's how the story reads. It claims Dedrick D. Williams was driving one of the cars, let alone, do you see a car pull up in the video? I just see one SUV. I don't even see a car pull up. And two men come out. So where's the third? There's not even a person in the SUV doing nothing.
Exactly.
So that's when I was like, wait. So this brings me to this. Have you guys ever seen The Manchurian Candidate?
In what?
The Manchurian Candidate, that movie? I think Denzel's in it.
I believe so.
Well, my thing is, I've read the book in different things, and the book's a little different, but it's the same idea. It's that anybody can be trained to do anything with the right training and right manipulation. Anyone. And now looking at the mastermind, August 12th is when I allegedly said the mastermind has joined our comments. So around this time, whoever would have been a mastermind is when I said they were hopping in the comments because of what was being said. What I was reading, I was like, this person knows too much. Then I said the connections and affiliated parties had joined the very same day later on because of what was being said. Now we're getting to Michael Boatwright. How did he forget to hide the evidence?
Right. Was the evidence found in his grandmother's car?
Yeah.
And again, so when you hear it like that, it sounds off.
It sounds crazy. I do this murder. Let me throw it in grandma's car.
Could it have been planted?
Thank you, Queen. Thank you. That. I mean, how else? How else would this occur? How else would this occur? Let alone it gets found right before indictments go down, very favorably. When a bill of information is collected, then prosecution comes back. We need DNA. In Florida, dealing with a murder case, you should have got it up front. What are we doing here?
I mean, you have to consider the fact that I don't know if this particular sheriff was actually fully committed to Tentacion's case, but the gentleman, and again, I predicted foul play with the police and how they're running this situation. But looking at, I believe, I can't remember his name, but he was a sheriff that was let go when dealing with the Parkland shootings.
Yeah.
Given the fact that it was mishandled in a very disrespectful way, and I would assume that probably looking at how specific procedures are supposed to go, they were lacking in that, and Broward County took a lot of help for that.
I mean, I know what you mean. That's crazy to me. So now, with me looking at it and me seeing exactly what's happening, I made a reference. Have you guys ever seen the movie Paid in Full?
Yeah.
What would be your thoughts on that movie? And that has Michael Pfeiffer, if I'm not. What would be your thoughts on that reference of that movie towards the XxXTentacion situation? How in the movie, remember Mitch? I think maybe not Mitch. It was the person Cameron was playing that he started literally shooting and setting up everybody that he was riding with.
Yeah. Just I get what you're saying. I get the example what you're trying to say. With the where that one person just turns it back on their crew.
And they're telling one person a story, another person something else, but then they're taking them both out around their backs. And at that time, I was looking like, is that true? Is that a possibility if we're thinking someone close that was someone he trusted and they patted him on his back, telling a guy something else to convince them to dislike him, then he got a beef he don't even know about. Now, Tentacion, the mystery morgue destination versus a hospital visit. Do we have any proof that his body was at either other than word of mouth? And when I say either, that there was someone trying to revive or assist him in any way, shape, or form?
Other than the information that we were able to see in the footage, no. And also given the fact that I don't know how true the situation is, but it looks like there was someone who actually on YouTube or someone who was trying to figure out if they could get information on him at the hospital that was allegedly where he was allegedly taken, stated that they had no information on that particular patient at that location. So there's just a lot of questionable things, but also given the fact that this is a high profile case, so maybe that person was told to lie to say that this person was not there.
Right.
I have no idea, but that could be a possibility.
So with that thought, I'm trying to show you guys that the stuff we're seeing now, I've been ahead of it. I then took that and compared it to Kendrick Johnson and Kanika Jenkins, now Anthony Myree, except this has synonymous links of all three with X. Get my following. Kendrick Johnson, video footage. We don't have it. We don't have video footage that shows him alive or gone. Same thing as Tentacion. Kanika Jenkins, edits. The only footage we've seen look edited in some way, shape, or form. And then last but not least, Anthony Myrie. No registry in the hospital that was released. No toxicology, autopsy. Same thing for X. They have synonymous factors. And it's like, it's a trend. It's like, oh, this is the newest way investigations are done.
Because everyone is supposed to believe that since they're giving their tax dollars to the federal government and it trickles down to the states, that these things are just going to disappear and go away. There's a mass epidemic that is currently happening with, like I said before, with, people of color. It doesn't matter who it is. It's probably more reported on African American children, simply because of the fact that, given the relations to the Kanika Jenkins case, there are people who find that what's the point in actually solving a murder or connecting different people to gang-related activities, or even violation of this young woman, when everybody could probably get paid more by working together and getting paid off of organs.
I mean, it's simple math, as you said, but they're too dumb to see it. Now, August 14th, that's when I said, okay, I'm done. Alternating premeditated and plot factors. I know something's not right here. That's what I'm saying. Okay, after all we spoke on, something's not right. Then I said, here's what cued it. Prosecutors are requesting DNA evidence from suspects afterwards. Are these lawyers going to act accordingly? I was like, this makes no sense. Because I know Florida law, if they entered in, they had to give DNA. It's a murder investigation. There's no way around it. That's law. If we're looking into a murder, we need your DNA just in case it pops up. But no, then they double back and request it after they randomly find stuff in Michael Boatwright's grandma's car. What? What are you talking about?
The Queen said the plaintiff.
That's what I'm saying. She's that allegedly that happened. I don't know anything else though. What are you gonna do? Take my DNA now and spread it on the shirt? They didn't even get gunpowder residue. Do you understand that these are factors that sends every individual that's ever shot a gun, did something, to jail for life? Gunpowder residue, DNA. But you don't find it. So what are we really talking about here?
I mean, if we can actually observe what has happened in the history of this country, modern day prisons are just another form of slavery. I mean, X talked about this, in interviews, talking about how they poison the water, how they poison the food, and how there's a lot of mistreatment in the prison system. And the story is told over and over again. As a matter of fact, as recently, there was a situation to where a dirty cop recently got caught and actually framed 24 men, I believe, or maybe, I would probably say roughly around 24 men in Chicago, giving them, maximum jail time of up to 60 years. And now this information is being released, but we're supposed to trust our authorities, and then they wonder why in the Black, Latino, even for white people who are disproportionate financially, don't trust this system.
Mm-hmm. August 18th, I said Dedrick D. Williams blocking Tentacion car. Footage of the setup. Where's the footage? Where's the footage of him blocking the car? Show it. Because I'm reading what your investigator wrote. Again, I'm looking at investigators looking suspicious, but I don't see it. Then that same day, so I've never heard someone rap that bad in my life. Never. I never heard someone rap bad. It was the worst rap at any time, any point in anyone's career I ever heard. Like, I've never heard someone rap that bad in my life. I listened to it once. It was so bad. I was like, this can't be real. I was like, this cannot be like, he cannot think he has a future in the game rapping like this. I played it again. I said, what would be the give and take for a career to allow someone to go out as talented as him, but then let this guy get up and freestyle sounding like Oscar right out the cash game? I was confused. I was like, what is this?
That's for real though. It's like intelligence is no longer the wave anymore. They want to keep people ignorant. They want to keep people lethargic. And more than likely that happens through the food supply. More than likely that happens through prescription medication and a failed education system. And also given the fact that in public schools, people still have to learn a history that's happened over 400 years ago that would probably disadvantage most of the children learning this information and allowing them to have something that is messing with the development of who they are as teenagers to feel less than or less significant in this world.
I'm keeping it real. I'd rather listen to you try and teach your pet to freestyle. That's how bad it was. It was so bad that I almost threw up. I really did. Because I said, music is here. It's the demise of music being music. I felt even worse for whoever sat there and he is friends with and didn't stop the track and say, bro, go practice your flow over in the corner. They just let him do it and said, let's put the video up.
Money.
It was, all right, August 19th, a Tentacion suspect walk over investigator mistakes. Errors bring hope to felons in peril. All of investigation's mistakes are beginning to build. And it's at a point where they're at an all-time high, where they're really standing out with it, where it's really standing above and beyond, and I'm not seeing anything. Then I did an analysis on August 19th of the 7 steps for Tentacion criminal case. Prosecution building the foundation. I went through all 7 steps in an entire case so people knew where the case was at. And then following August 20th, I don't know if you guys knew, I had a commenter call a funeral home. They called the funeral home and they were building a comprehension behind the surroundings of the memorial. So they spoke with the funeral home people. And I'm not going to, I'm going to refresh myself on what they told me, and I'll go over that at a later date. But I did have someone call the exact funeral home and speak to them. Now, I go through the trials. Stage 1 is the bail. Stage 2 is the arraignment. And the reason I stopped there is because I started realizing that they were stuck at the bill of information. Now, that's when I found out prosecution was requesting the DNA. I mean, more DNA. And I was confused because I was trying to see the legalities. So I was like, fine, they're not talking. August 21st, time taken to build the mausoleum. I saw how long it took to build a mausoleum and realized this mausoleum had to have been being built at least 3 to 4 months before this incident. So I'm like, why? How? Then I'm like, wait, his clothes look different. Queen, didn't you mention that the clothes or the jacket look different?
It's been mentioned to me by other people who've observed the situation that the socks were probably different. Also, the pants were different, and that's what I'm aware of as far as like looking at the pants. But it could be lighting, given the situation that that happened initially.
Okay, now then we started talking about the crime of the evidence. And at this time, August 22nd, I had biased YouTubers directly attacking my channel. So they were mentioning me without mentioning me, but mentioning me. So at that time, I clapped back at them. Then I went into the familiar faces in Riva Motorsports and how I'm combing through the details. There were familiar faces. Who do you believe that person that escorted Tentacion looked like?
Can you repeat that?
Who do you believe? Do you believe the person with him? It's a side view. So do you think it's everybody, everyone's saying, or could it possibly have been someone else?
No, I believe it's what everybody else was saying. And seeing.
Then I said the photo comparisons between the wounds. So the wound on his neck and then his lips. I didn't see the blood and his lips look odd. The one with and the one without. So then someone sent me a picture that allegedly showed blood. Have you guys seen any pictures publicly that showed blood?
I seen a picture, but the shot was kind of far with the body being out of the car, the vehicle already. On the seatbelt, on the passenger seatbelt, it looks like stained blood, but again, it could have been shadowing. It could have been just anything.
What about you, Queen? Do you think that did you see a picture with the blood versus one without?
As far as seeing a picture or anything like that, no, I haven't seen anything relative to that. I only saw the video footage when it was initially released all over the internet.
Now, August 24th, I got Dedrick D. Williams. It's titled Dedrick D. Williams and his trusty revolver. Where did the 22 come from? House of Wealth was the one that talked about this, and I agree. In all the pictures I seen with Dedrick, I see him with a revolver, but they're claiming he had a 22. And I don't see him with the 22, nor do I think his body stature fit that of the individuals we saw. What are your thoughts on that?
That's the reason why I initially thought that the people who were involved in that situation were the two skinnier gentlemen because they look pretty tall.
Exactly. And
out
of all due respect, Dedrick D. Williams may be about like 5'7". These guys were 6 foot at least.
Absolutely. They're definitely much taller, much slender. Because, I mean, let's be for real, Dedrick, both of the fat men, they belly sticked out to indicate that they're very heavy set men. And didn't really feel too comfortable walking too fast. So I don't understand how someone of that stature could actually even hop out of a vehicle that quickly and surround it.
Now, from the rest of August, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, and I'm mentioning different things. You're from Chicago, so I want to quickly mention this. I think it is my opinion that Chicago right now is a testing ground. So what you're doing is you're testing the limits of how the law can be bent, the limits that the youth are willing to go, and you're testing epidemics. You're even allowing them to test out violence in the way a degraded society operates. What is your thoughts of that, being that you're from there, Queen?
I absolutely agree. There's a lot more that's actually happening in Chicago than most even know about. I mean, there's not to go off topic too much, but even just the radioactive deer that are allegedly dead, that are basically roaming around with all these cysts and everything on their bodies. And given the fact that now I recently saw a video related to Kanika, stating that most of these gangs nowadays, they don't even fight with each other anymore. They are just trying to see how they can round a victim like Kanika up to get them out to Rosemont, or to get them to different facilities in order to have, to do organ transplants, etc.
We're going to talk about that.
And the thing is,
right
what I
there.
don't understand is usually,
You got it.
like you said before,
You got it.
whenever
you that's absolutely it. I have been made aware of that too, that gang violence isn't the thing. Now it's a lot of privilege influencing the youth to lead victims to them, allegedly. All this is alleged. And that's what it is now. You get an innocent like Kanika Jenkins into a place where they can become a victim, and you get a couple stacks. That'd be like nightly getting your work off.
And so my thing is, back to what I was saying, with given the fact that now that's the new wave, you have to look into whether, if this young lady was either involved with someone who had gang affiliations, or there's been statements that have been said that her family is pretty well connected. I don't know necessarily what that means, but people know them around the hood and know different things about them. So my thing is that when you're looking at a situation like this, any situation, it could be TheCzarr situation, it could be Kendrick's situation, it could be anyone. What happened? What happened to their toxicology reports? What happened to their autopsies? What happened to these things to where people say that there's no foul play? Well, we look at a young girl who looks like she was wet in a pool, and given the fact that she suffered allegedly from hypothermia, to where she had actual brain, her thymus was missing. Keep in mind that as African American people, our thymuses don't go anywhere. Our thymuses don't go anywhere until we start to age and it begins to shrink.
Thank you. Dealing with now September 6th. No, yes, September 6th. This was the day after I called Victor out for dodging investigators in the interrogation room. How'd he do it? That's all I kept saying. How'd you do it? Then I said, is he the unexpected link to TxxTentacion? Then the 6th September, I saw Victor on there running his lips on Instagram. I'm like, why are you still talking? And you can't speak about what happened or tell the same story twice. This is about the time I seen him get up on Diamond's Live and start talking. and talking like he knew it all. Then I asked the public, who is Lil Panamero on Instagram talking Tentacion? I just seen these two blabbing like they knew it all. September 6th, running your lips like you know what happened. And I said, along with them, I see a plethora of odd users knowing a lot. Who are these people? I'm asking. I asked them.
If I can, if for one situation, I'm not too sure who the Victor character is, but from what I was able to see from last night, there was a situation to where it seems like this, I don't know her name. I'm sorry, forgive me, but I'm going to call her Panasonic. I don't know her name. Either way,
Panasonic, little Panasonic.
She basically had a close relationship with this Cherry lady who was gunned down 2 weeks before TheCzarr was. And there's a video, I believe, on her page, on her Instagram, to where there's footage of her and the young lady. You know, they have little heart emojis surrounding them and, you know, trying to look cute, whatever.
Yeah.
But it sounds like X is in the background and saying, why or what? So my thing is, he also commented on Cherry's, I think either Cherry or Panasonic's photo, saying, you know, rest in peace, Cherry. So there has to be some sort of affiliation to where he knows these young women. He knows them. But let's be for real. He has no problem frequenting strip clubs. Like, no. That's just kind of a given.
I want to say this. I'm glad if X smashed and dashed on her. I'm so glad. That would make my day. If I heard he smashed and dashed on you and you didn't like it, I'd applaud. I'd be like, go X. That's right. I seen your photo and I looked and I was like, yeah, that's a hit and quit.
Suspect.
Like, she was so sloppy. I was like, what's going on with her? I was like, that's no one that you want to be. I could see the snake in her. Like, I just see the photos and I'm like, what is the purpose? I'm just keeping it authentic. And I just wanted to add that because when I first started looking at the photos, I'm like, well, no wonder she just wants to show her eyes. I was like, like, you were just showing your eyes. Like she was a ninja. She was like, I'm a ninja. Like, she was like, I was like, what is she doing? I was like, where's her kunai? Where's her outfit? I was like, she just had her nose and her eyes were covered like she had a bed sheet. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, it's not Halloween, but, you know, that was one of the things I noticed. And then back September 12th, I was telling them, Victor and Little Panamero, be honest. Just be honest. Now, here's the thing. I went at that point and had someone, Agent M, start researching relatives. I couldn't really pick it out. I was like, I need to know who's related to these people for me to understand it. Now, this is when the idea of a plant was identified. What do you think about someone being planted within the exact team of TheCzarr? Do you think someone could have been a plant and was planted there from the start and never really was supposed to be somebody respectable?
I mean, it's a possibility. It seems as if, you know, it depends on how close the situation is. I mean, he's a very likable person. And even though he felt misunderstood a lot, that doesn't stop a lot of people who seek the attention and the fame from just knowing you to pretend to be your friend. I mean, it's happened to me where I've been online and people have lied on me that I thought that I could have, confided in or trusted, and they twist my story and twist everything, that's going on with the situation. And keep in mind that even, given the fact that he was violated with his personal relationship, and it was actually broadcasted on, Diamonds Live and ACK and all these other news websites where he's, going off and getting upset, who's to say who's actually trying to get some sort of money or some sort of clout from the information that they get from being around him?
I agree. Here's also one thing I want to say. September 15th, I seen a picture and they were on a jet ski. And remember, I was saying, why are you riding on a jet ski afterwards? But then I was like, wait, didn't Victor say he was going to Riva to get a jet ski fixed? So the question is, whose jet ski was in the pictures? Who was riding what? This was about jet skis. Where was the bill ever introduced to show Victor even took a jet ski to get worked on?
I guess Riva Motorsports would have that, and they're not saying anything. They're not showing things.
Exactly. So in my mind, that's what first made me suspect about them. He's saying this. Can we see a bill in which he actually got something worked on? Can we see something sensible? There's nothing to show for it. He just was talking. And he randomly hit Riva before everything went down. How? And, I'm not going to go into detail. But I will say this, that looking at this situation as an adult, I allegedly presume who has told him. Not only that, but I had little Panasonic accidentally co-sign exactly who I presume to have told him without me even going into detail. So at this point,
I said, could you actually put that in the chat?
I did yesterday, the first post I put.
Okay, got it.
So I had her co-sign that without me even mentioning him. So we got you. But there's one more piece before I come out with that I want to know. And this is to my make or break on Panasonic. This will be my make or break on you. There's something else I need to understand because you said a lot. I have people that aren't a part that know you said a lot. Just you said a lot. We went through the very strong beginnings up to now, so a lot of people understand it, and you see what the people I'm rocking with. Before we get out of here, let them know your social medias.
All right, mine is my Instagram is Chris A. That's Chris _ A. That's AY, the number 3. Chris A.
Okay, and again, follow me on YouTube at Queen Prodigy. Also, you can hit me up on Instagram at Queen Prodigy 0369. Also, make sure that you all subscribe. Make sure that you all feel free to, be comfortable with me. Send me messages if you all are interested in readings and you are over the age of 18. Let me know, and I will gladly accommodate you because I knew that coming into the situation that a lot of people would be questioning whether if I'm legit or not, and I wanted to make sure that I could provide that for others so that they can realize that I'm not playing around and that my gift is from God.
I would encourage all of you to reach out to Queen Prodigy. She's authentic, and I have interacted with her in business, so definitely catch up with her. She definitely is gonna shock you. Um, get up with her, do business. It's well worth it. We got more that we're gonna be doing, so stay tuned. I haven't gotten to most of the stuff, but I'm gonna work through different videos and things. We went through from the very beginning of the series to about around the September time frame, and we could go. We're gonna pick a time. We're gonna go from where we were at and move forward, and I'm gonna hear exactly what's going on so we could discuss more about it. I'm gonna figure out exactly when that's gonna be, but support the people that I have here. Follow them on their social medias, and thank everybody for stopping by. Also, go follow Zabella on Mandy Eats Your Heart. Yours spelled with UR on Twitter. Check her out. She has a website coming soon that I know all the public, at least most of the men, will enjoy. So I'm gonna allow her to let you know that in the coming time. Um, I appreciate everybody rocking with me. Hit that like button. Stay tuned. I got uploads coming that I think a lot of you are going to enjoy. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Tomorrow, enjoy your President's Day. Enjoy your day, how it goes. Spend it with family, friends. You guys are always welcome to comment. Shoot the site around, subscribe, hit the bell. You're rocking with the one and only, with the commenter conquerors, some of the original commenters, and we're going to keep it moving. Shout to everybody, support the movement. Don't miss anything. If you're not catching our lives or videos, unsubscribe, resubscribe, hit the bell, and click all notifications, as well as the bottom button, including posts, because in community, I post information so you can rock with us. So thank you for rocking with me. You know how we rock, how we always rock. All rights reserved, the greatest nation since United Nations, how we're moving. Even shout to the silent commenters that's not really speaking. Y'all come around and rock. I know sometimes y'all be critical, but understand there's a motion to the movement. I've spoken with everybody that's relevant to the situation that most of you probably know if you are somebody. So don't hesitate to reach out. Shout to people. We're looking for sponsors to add to the movement. So I'm open to talk to me. You know the IG, TheCzarr _ all rights reserved. One word on Instagram. Hit me up in the messages. I'm out.